Get real-world experience for the world of music and audio at Full Sail University. Recording, producing,
Magnetars. When a massive star dies, its core collapses into a neutron star, an object so dense that a sugar cube-sized piece would weigh 1 billion tons. But in rare cases, the collapse also
How did they know that's how heavy it is? Who weighed it? Huh? Who weighed it?
twists the magnetic field to an extreme degree. The result is called a magnetar. A magnetar's field is about 1,000 trillion times stronger than Earth's. If you got
How do we know that?
within 621 miles of one, the field would rip apart every atom in your body. You would dissolve before reaching the surface. On December 27, 2004, a magnetar called SGR 180620 released a burst of energy from the other side of the galaxy, 50,000 light-years away. In less than a second, it put out more energy than the sun does in 250,000 years. Even from that far away, the burst physically compressed Earth's upper atmosphere when it arrived. Only about 30 magnetars have been found in our galaxy, and many more are likely hiding. If one were within 10 light-years, a burst like that would strip away the ozone layer, and with nothing left to block it, radiation from the sun would kill most life on the surface.
What the fuck?
Coronal mass ejections. Most of the time, the sun is calm, but every now and then, it snaps. It throws a blob of hot gas into space at millions of miles per hour. This is called a coronal mass ejection. That gas carries its own magnetic field, and when it slams into Earth, it messes with ours, sending huge surges of energy through anything electrical. In 1859, one hit us. It was called the Carrington event. The surge was so strong that telegraph offices caught fire, and operators could send messages with their equipment unplugged because the storm was powering the wires for them. Back then, the most advanced technology was the telegraph, so the damage was limited. Today, everything runs on electricity. A repeat would kill satellites, shut down power grids, and destroy transformers that are custom-made and take months to build. No power means no hospitals, no running water, no communication. Recovery would take 4 to 10 years. On July 23, 2012, the sun fired one directly through Earth's path. We had been in that spot 9 days earlier. The odds of a direct hit, around 12% per decade. Gamma ray bursts. When a massive star collapses or two neutron stars crash into each other, the explosion releases more energy in a few seconds than the sun will in its entire lifetime. It squeezes that energy into narrow beams that shoot at the speed of light. This is called a gamma ray burst. Because it moves at light speed, if one is aimed at Earth, it arrives the moment we see it. On October 9, 2022, one went off 1.9 billion light-years away. It overwhelmed nearly every instrument built to detect it. A burst that powerful only happens about once every 10,000 years. That one was far away. A closer one would be far worse. Our galaxy is about 100,000 light-years across, and a burst anywhere within 6,500 light-years would tear apart the ozone layer in hours. Once that is gone, sunlight cooks everything on the surface. Some scientists believe this already happened 445 million years ago, when 85% of life in the ocean died at once. Creatures near the surface were hit far harder than those in deep water, which is what a burst of radiation from above would do. Rogue black holes. Most black holes sit at the center of galaxies or orbit near another star, but some get kicked out. When a star explodes unevenly, or two black holes merge, energy shoots out harder in one direction, and the remaining black hole gets thrown the other way. Once moving, nothing slows it down. It drifts through the galaxy in silence, giving off no light at all. In 2022, astronomers found the first one. They only spotted it because it passed in front of a distant star, and its gravity bent the light around it. Without that alignment, it would have gone unnoticed. It was about 5,000 light-years away, moving at 99,419 miles per hour. That was one. Estimates suggest around 100 million are drifting through the Milky Way right now. If one passed through the outer solar system, its gravity would pull planets out of their orbits, scatter moons, and send comets flying inward.
Bro, is there like a way we can know if there is one?
Because it gives off no light, there would be no way to see it coming. The nearest one is
Sure.
We heard you. We were listening to you through the car radio.
thought to be about 80 light-years away. The closest star to
Recognize your mom. Be like, my mom's the coolest.
Am I funny?
Yeah, I think you are. Hi, I'm Kanan's mom.
I don't really have
Oh.
no one watching me.
Did Josh watch you?
Not anymore. One day.
Hi.
One day.
Earth is just 4. KOI-50.
She just broke my fucking Lego car, guys.
I'm sorry. Can I fix it?
Fix it.
I don't know how. Let this come off.
Look. Bro.
Hold on, there's one more piece. Oh wait, this is part of the lightning McQueen. It's the back. Okay, sorry. Fix it, please.
How the hell do you expect me to fix this?
I don't know.
Mom, bro.
I'm sorry, please fix it. And what about the ones I had out there? I'm sorry. Are you mad?
Yeah.
Do you love me still?
I don't know.
Oh no. I'm about to be murdered.
Oh my god. She just broke my Lego card, chat. And this is why you pay attention when you're around other people's things that are fragile. She knocked you. Bro, I'm gonna fuck her up, bro. You're on straight. Quit crashing out, baby. I fixed it. Lucky stars helped her. Trust me, bro.
5. Most planets that fall into their star get destroyed. KO I-55 did not. About 18 million years ago, its star grew so large that the planet plunged directly inside it. Everything on the outside was burned away, but the rocky core was tough enough to hold together. What is left is smaller than Earth, just a bare, scorched rock orbiting so close to the star that a full year takes less than 6 hours. The star burns at 6 times the temperature of the sun, which is why the planet's surface is still glowing at 12,000 degrees Fahrenheit, even after 18 million years. If you stood on it, you would turn into a cloud of atoms before your brain could register you had arrived. Our own sun will eventually run out of fuel and expand the same way. When it does, it will grow
Engulf
far
the
enough to reach
Earth
Earth's
and all
orbit.
that good
But Earth
stuff.
does not have the kind of core that could survive being swallowed.
One click, and Albion spills into your world.
The Great Attractor. Right now, our galaxy is moving. Not just drifting with the expansion of the universe, but being
But what's
pulled
it
in a
moving
specific
to?
direction at 373 miles per second. That is fast enough to cross the United States in under 8 seconds. And it is not just us. Hundreds of thousands of other galaxies are all being pulled toward the same point. Nothing is slowing them down. The problem is, we cannot see what is pulling us. It sits behind a part of our own galaxy so thick with stars and dust that visible light cannot get through. Astronomers call this the zone of avoidance, but infrared and radio waves can pass through dust. And when astronomers pointed those telescopes at it, they found a huge cluster of galaxies and dark matter, heavy enough to drag everything toward it. This is the Great Attractor. But the Great Attractor itself is also moving. It is being pulled towards something even
Oh my
larger
God,
called the
let me guess,
Shapley
that's being pulled
Supercluster.
towards something
Whatever
that's
is
being
pulling
pulled
us is
towards
also being pulled by something else.
Oh.
We do not know what sits at the end of that chain. The Fermi Paradox. The universe is 13.8 billion years old. There are hundreds of billions of galaxies, each with hundreds of billions of stars, and many of those stars have planets in the right place for life. The ingredients are everywhere, but in over 60 years of searching, we have found nothing. No signals, no structures, no sign of anyone. This is called the Fermi Paradox. One explanation is the Great Filter. Somewhere between dead chemistry and a civilization that spreads across stars, there is a step so hard that almost nothing gets past it. If that step is behind us, we are rare. If it is ahead, civilizations regularly reach about where we are and are destroyed by something they never see coming, or something they build themselves. Some
How do they know
researchers
that?
now think artificial intelligence could be that filter, because any species advanced enough to build it may not be advanced enough to survive it. Every time we find a new planet that could support life and see no sign of it, it looks a little more like the filter is ahead of us. Neutron stars. When massive stars die, their cores get crushed into a ball about 12.5 miles wide, the size of a city, with more mass than the sun inside. A sugar cube-sized piece would weigh 1 billion tons.
Who
Because all that
tells
mass
them
is squeezed
this,
so
bro?
small,
How do they know?
the spin speeds up. Some rotate 716 times a second, fast enough that their surface moves at a quarter the speed of light. When two neutron stars crash into each other, the explosion is violent enough to detect from the other side of the universe. In 2017, over 70 observatories picked up the same collision at once and found gold and platinum in the wreckage. The gold in a wedding ring was not made inside a star. It was made when two dead stars tore each other apart. That collision was 130 million light years away. If
So
one
gold
happened
is
closer,
awesome.
within our part of the galaxy, the radiation alone would wipe out life on any planet in its path. In 2025, astronomers detected one that was part supernova, part neutron star merger, something never seen before. They called it a superkilonova. Asteroid impacts. 66 million years ago, a rock about 6.2 miles wide hit Earth near what is now Mexico. The impact released the energy of 100 million nuclear bombs.
Oh.
It threw so much dust into
Don't
the
kill the
atmosphere
dinosaurs.
that sunlight was blocked for years. Temperatures dropped, and most species died, including the dinosaurs.
Ah.
That was a big one, but it does
No.
not take something that size to cause serious damage. In 2013, a rock just 20 meters wide exploded over Russia with no warning at all. The blast injured over 1,500 people and damaged
Damn.
thousands of buildings. In 2019, a 100-meter asteroid passed closer to Earth than the Moon. It was spotted 2 days after it had already gone by.
What
The
the
problem is, we have only found about a third of the asteroids large enough to destroy a city. The rest are still out there,
How do they know how many
untracked.
there is if we
In
haven't found them?
2022, NASA crashed a spacecraft into a small asteroid called Dimorphos and successfully pushed it off course. But that only helps if we see them in time, and right now, we often do not. Rogue planets. Planets are supposed to orbit stars, but some get thrown out. A close pass with another planet or a pull from a nearby star flings a world out of its system. Once that happens, it drifts through the space between stars with no sun and no orbit. There are a lot of them. Scientists think around 2 trillion are drifting through the Milky Way, which means they outnumber the stars. JWST found over 500 in one region of the Orion Nebula alone, including pairs of giant planets orbiting each other in the
There's
dark
more
with
planets
no
than
star
there are
near them.
stars.
Because they give off no light, the only way to find one is when it passes in front of something bright. If a large enough rogue entered our solar system, its gravity would pull the other planets out of position. Just pushing Earth a little closer to the sun or a little further away would be enough to end life on the surface. That is how rogue planets are made in the first place, and it is how ours could become one. The Bhuta's Void. The universe is not spread out evenly. Galaxies cluster along long threads, with gaps in between. But in 1981, astronomer Robert Kirshner found a gap that did not make sense. It was a region of space 330 million light-years across
Hey,
with
black
almost
hole,
nothing
bro.
in it. About 60 galaxies are inside it. Based on its size, there should be closer to 10,000. This is the Bhuta's Void, one of the largest empty regions ever found. The universe is 13.8 billion years old, and in
so
that
wide.
time, gravity should have pulled matter together fairly evenly. A hole this big and this empty has never been fully explained. Some scientists think it formed when smaller empty regions merged over billions of years, but even that does not account for how empty it is. If Earth sat at the center of the Bhuta's Void, we would have had no idea other galaxies existed until the 1960s, when telescopes finally became powerful enough to see past the emptiness. Until then, we would have looked up and seen nothing but darkness in every direction.
Want to put a number in your head. 283 trillion.
Strange matter. Everything around us is made of atoms, and atoms are made of smaller pieces called quarks. Normal matter uses 2 types, up quarks
What
and
makes
down
quarks?
quarks. But there is a third kind called a strange quark. Some scientists think if all 3 combine the right way, the result is more stable than anything in the universe. More stable than iron. More stable than the atoms in your body. The problem is what happens when it touches normal matter. The atoms it touches rearrange into more strange matter, and those atoms do the same to the ones next to them.
So it'd
It
be
spreads
like
with no
the
way
zombie
to stop it.
apocalypse of these,
A single
but
grain
not-
on the surface of a planet would eat through it entirely, atom by atom, until nothing familiar was left. No one has ever seen this happen.
Like that Gravity
Before
Falls
turning on the
episode.
biggest particle machines, scientists checked whether the collisions inside could create it. They decided the risk was very low, because cosmic rays have been smashing particles together for billions of years and nothing has been converted. But the idea has never been ruled out. Vacuum decay. Empty space is not actually empty. It is filled with energy from something called the Higgs field, which gives particles their mass and holds the rules of physics in place. Everything in the universe depends on this field staying where it is. The problem is, it might not be at its most stable point. Based on measurements taken in 2012, the field appears to be sitting in a dip, not at the lowest level it could reach. Stable for now, but if something knocked it lower, the effect would spread outward at the speed of light.
What could knock it
Inside that
lower?
expanding bubble, the rules of physics would change. Everything it touched would come apart, not because something hit
nice.
it, but because the rules that held it together would not work anymore. The bubble would not stop. It would keep going until it had rewritten the entire universe. There would be no warning. The bubble moves at light speed, so it arrives the same moment anything could detect it. A recent survey of scientists put the chance that the field is in this unstable state at about 46%. Oumuamua. In October 2017, astronomers spotted an object moving so fast it could not be orbiting our sun. It was the first confirmed visitor from another star system. Most asteroids are round or lumpy. This one was stretched like a cigar or flat like a pancake, dark red from millions of years of radiation. But the real problem came as it was leaving. It sped up. Comets do this because heat turns their ice into gas that pushes them forward. Oumuamua had no gas and no tail. Something was pushing it, and no one could explain what. The shape and unexplained speed led some to consider it might be artificial.
I can't stop
Teams
fucking
pointed radio
laughing.
telescopes at it. The silence was total. In 2023, a theory finally fit. Radiation had trapped hydrogen inside the ice over millions of years. When the sun's heat released it, the invisible gas pushed the object forward. It was not a spacecraft. It was a dark comet, but it was only spotted as it was already on its
Now we're
way
being
out.
racist
If it had
now.
passed through at a different time, no one would have known it was ever here. The end of the universe. The universe is expanding, and that expansion is speeding up. Something is pushing galaxies apart faster and faster. Scientists call it dark energy. It makes up about 68% of the universe, and no one knows what it is. What we do know is it decides how everything ends. If dark energy stays the same, the universe slowly dies. Stars burn out, black holes evaporate. Over trillions of years,
So all of this was for nothing. It was basically what.
everything fades into cold, dark emptiness where nothing ever happens again. No light, no heat, no change. Scientists call this heat death, but if dark energy gets stronger over time, the ending is much worse. The expansion would become powerful enough to tear things apart. First galaxies, about 200 million years before the end. Then the solar system, 3 months before. Then planets. Then, in the final fraction of a second, atoms. Scientists call this the Big Rip. In 2025, new data from a major
First
sky
of all.
survey showed signs that dark energy may not be staying the same. It may be changing. We do not know which ending we are heading toward. Neither can be stopped. If you'd like to see more videos,
W video. Kind of fucking freaky out. That shit.